So I wanted to show you one of my favorite recipes is this roasted red pepper Alfredo sauce. So this has some good talking points as well. And it's a way to, lighten up your sauces astronomically. I haven't compared the calories and the fat in this one, but it's definitely a lot less calorie dense than a regular Alfredo. Because you know what a regular Alfredo is made out of is butter and cream and I think just and then a bunch of flavors. So this one has veggies added plus no dairy products. And it also, let me just go over quickly go over the ingredients over here. So let's see here. So it's kind of a cashew base. That's what creates the creaminess. So I just found these cashews. These are chopped, but of course you could use these whole ones. But if you do and you don't have a high-speed blender, then you should soak these ahead and drain for like 4 hours or to overnight. And then you can also get pieces. So that's kind of in between the two. And of course, these are going to be the soak the longest. But they get so creamy once they soak. And then I've also love this because I add hemp seeds to it too. And hemp seeds are also adding creaminess and they also have omega-3 fatty acids, which are heart healthy. They're actually higher in protein. But, cashews, you can't beat them for creaminess, but I like to mix the two to bring up the health a little more. A little bit of soy milk. This is my favorite. Trader Joe's just has unsweetened. It's just plain, just organic. Tanya she used that little jar. This is what I got. Nutritional yeast. I get this from Amazon. I do some products. Tracy's Real Foods is my company. And I put this in my burgers and I put it in my parm that I make, a sunny parm. And I do a chicken-free seasoning that is amazing. And so I do end up using a lot of nutritional yeast. And this is organic and it's not fortified. And I'll talk about that in a sec. Again, I'm using miso as well. And miso just adds a really nice depth of flavor. And as Patty said, it adds a saltiness. So that's what I'm using as my salt in this. And then a little turmeric. I'm going to roast a bell pepper. I'm going to show you how I do that in a pan. And then I also add zucchini, surprisingly. You wouldn't even know there's zucchini in there. And Charlie, it's okay. You wouldn't know. And then I'm going to use my friend Charlie doesn't like zucchini. And then some broth. And I'm just going to bring up a notch with a little bit of Belgian spicy mustard that our Belgian neighbors gave us and friends. So let's go ahead over here to the pepper. Let's see here. Gotta get it so you can see it. Okay. Okay. So I like to show how I chop things up sometimes, and peppers I'm obsessed with. So what I do is I cut the whole thing in half. Okay. And then this is so easy. I'll do the other one over the sink, but I just reach in and grab all of those seeds out and then I dump them in the sink, of course, but so look how fast that is. So, and then I'm going to make some nice small pieces. So a lot of people get intimidated by chopping, and once you do it and figure out the best method for you, then just do it quickly. A lot of people like overthink it. They get like, I don't know, they think it needs to be perfect. And it's just going to go in a blender. So who cares what it looks like? But roasted red peppers you could buy in a jar, of course. And then you can skip this whole thing that I'm doing. But what I'll show you is I worked as a chef for Dr. Furman, and we did not use jars of red peppers. So, and I didn't have time one day to actually stick in the oven and roast it. So what I did was I just made it in my pan, in a pan. So I've kind of had it a low heat. Now I'll just bring up the heat. So you can see it's starting to sizzle. So what I do is I get it sizzling like this, and then want to get a little browning. Then I'll add some of the broth. So when I make my own veggie broth, I had a company, I still have it, Veg Appeal, it's my coaching company, and I had partners, and one of my partners, Marge, said she made her own veggie broth, and she kept all of her scraps from cooking, like her ends of celery, ends of onions, and she'd keep in the freezer and make her own broth. And I was like, I'm never doing that. No, that's too much time, too much work. You know what? I'm addicted to it now. It's so easy. And so it's just something I just keep all my scraps and then I make my own vegetable broth, and it adds so much flavor to my dishes, and it's environmental, of course. You don't buy the big package. And of course a lot cheaper. All the stuff you would throw away. So you're seeing now, you can see it's starting to get a little browning. And now you want that brought up into your food when you're getting it on the pan like that. And so it's called deglazing your pan, is to add some broth or some water. So I just add a little. Then I just put the lid on it to get those peppers nice and soft. And then move on. They'll usually turn that down. Once you put the lid on it, of course, it's going to be a lot hotter. So the point is I want it to cook, but not burn too much. So, okay, now I'm going to start putting everything together while that's happening. So I'm going to do about a cup of zucchini. And you can leave it out, of course. You don't have to add zucchini. What was I thinking? You can add some beans to this as well to kind of stretch it out. The reason I'm adding zucchini is just it's going to like lower the calories, add more veggies to my diet, and it's just, and it, you know, just makes it, I like it because it's very not adds a creamy consistency, but a lot of people you can't taste it because it's very benign taste. So
I think our friend Charlie would beg to differ with you, but story for another day.
yeah, leave it out, girl. Okay. So let's go ahead and add that. And we're waiting for the peppers. So let's add everything else. So we got the
Raw, right?
What's
Tracy,
that?
that's raw zucchini, right?
Yeah, so I don't cook the zucchini. I just add it raw.
Okay.
And I add it to my cheese sauces. And by the way, this could be a cheese sauce too. If you just added a little more spices, a more tanginess, you know, so you could add a little apple cider vinegar, maybe more nutritional yeast. I'm going to add some, but not a lot considering the volume of this sauce. And then you could have a nice cheese sauce. So I'm going to add those cashews. I'm going to add that spicy mustard. Now, you can add any mustard. I don't know. There's something about mustard in sauces that just, I don't know. I like the taste of it. It's just adds a little more depth of flavor. You can add a Gulden's type mustard. So, and then our soy milk. There's the nooch, the flakes. There's the hemp seeds. Just to add a little of, I don't know, authentic Alfredo flavor and bring out the sweetness of the peppers and stuff is a little nutmeg. Turmeric, just because I always add turmeric to everything. It's anti-inflammatory. And then garlic. And you can notice I sometimes cheat. I don't peel them. This one was very easy to peel. I mean, it's you know, you're putting in the blender, a little bit of the skin is not going to hurt you.
More fiber.
Exactly. And then some pepper. So you can see that, yeah. All right, so let's check on what's going on over here. Oh, I'm gonna bring it up a little. So what's happened over here is I'll get your video over. Is they've gotten soft. So there's and then there's a little liquid in it still. And I like to, even though the liquid would be fine in the sauce, then I cook that down though. And then you get that a little more of a roasted brown flavor. I'm gonna move my cooker here so I have room for my blender. So these are, I think they're done, you know, so this is your, just adds up brings out the flavor. Of course, you could use them raw. You don't have to do this. I use add raw peppers to sauces all the time. They're just one of my favorites for adding so much flavor and a nice color. So I'm gonna add that. Add that in. I kind of just went with a few of our leftovers that I had. And if you come to our meetup, we're going to be having our potluck on March 1st. What we're doing is PlantDiego is going to provide the sauces, and it's going to be a sauce kind of competition. You guys get to vote for which one you like best, and it's going to be these sauces. And I'm going to bring these for everyone. So that's why we need people to sign up. We call them Gregor pucks. And talking about Charlie again, this is her idea to make after we saw Dr. Gregor speak in 2020, of course, the beginning of 2020, January. And he talked about what grains and legumes he thinks are best for your microbiome, which is your gut health. And he gave a list, and it was a very fancy list. It was millet, but it was finger millet. She could tell you what they were in a second, but I was like, no, I'm just going to use the regular stuff that I can find at the regular store. So millet I love. It's got beluga lentils. It's got oat groats in it. And you could put quinoa. And what you do is you just put it in your Instant Pot. And with the right amount of liquid, and I have a recipe, and we actually had this in our newsletter for this month. And then you cook it for a certain amount of time and not that long. And then you kind of cool it, and then you can scoop it onto sheets and into this shape, and then let them as they dry, as they cool, they firm up. And then you can just take these little pucks and keep them in your freezer. And these came out of my freezer. These are the last ones from my last batch. And I absolutely love having these on hand. And then you can make a sauce or do different things with them. So, and same with the sweet potatoes. I'm really all about the food prep, prepping ahead if possible. So like I baked these ahead and they were in my fridge and then I just stuck them in the toaster oven to heat them up. Some sweet potatoes.
Can I jump in, Tracy?
What's that?
Can I jump in?
Yes, jump in, honey.
So the Gregor pucks are also great in tomato sauce to make it like a bolognese, any pasta dish. And then it's also a great taco meat substitute, adding just the different spices. So the Gregor pucks are so versatile. You can use it in any way, a base for a rice substitute, um, a meat substitute, and you're getting all the fiber that you could ever want in a puck.
I know puck doesn't sound that appetizing. Sounds like hockey puck, but I don't know. I
Oh.
don't know. I was like, okay, what else can we call them? But I just love it. I just love puck. It's like such a, I don't know, and it's descriptive. It's kind of like a patty. It's a little bit of like it is very similar. It holds together. You could flavor it up, I swear, and just put it have it as a burger too.
Yeah,
I didn't say
absolutely.
that because I sell burgers. Tracy's food, all American, much more flavorful than this, but and also already made, which is
And
nice.
also my favorite,
Yeah.
not the zucchini, the part, the burger
No, there's
part.
no zucchini in those burgers, honey. Yep, no.
Hmm.
Okay, and so what I did here was I always buy at the store usually a bunch of greens, and I'll usually parboil all of them and then put them in. Now I use some of them for a meal, and then put the rest in containers, and then I have greens ready to throw in a stir fry or just a bowl or put in my salad or whatever. It's just a way to increase the amount of green vegetables that you eat, which are really good source of plant-based calcium and sulforaphane, which is a cancer fighter. So, and then I use the stem, but I cut them up and boil them a little longer. That's my trick with that is just to and then I have my kale over here, which I haven't done yet, but what I did with that was this is the curly kale, and I stripped off the stems and just tore it into pieces or cut it real finely. And then and Dr. Greger also, as Tanya mentioned, says to keep your greens cut before you cook them, and that actually helps to solidify the sulforaphane, which is very random but important nutrient that's in greens. Um, so anyways, just things that we can do to try to keep our defenses up. Okay, so here's the sauce. And of course, this is really good on pasta and dishes like this.
That looks so good.
Yeah, and then I recommend when you find the sauce that you like, just make a double or triple batch. Like the tahini sauce, when I make it, I usually use an entire can of beans. So it calls for a half a cup, and a can is a cup and a half. So that means I'm tripling the recipe. So, and then like Patty said, she uses arugula. You could put a little bit of arugula on as to add some raw food in there. And also adding a raw cruciferous vegetable to your cooked cruciferous vegetable can reinstate the enzymes that you could get destroyed as you cook it. And then some garden basil. Um, So just have fun with it and just I really recommend, like I said, just trying to make a lot of sauce and make a lot of these basic things, have them in your fridge, and you can create different bowls all throughout the week. And it's a way to, get a really quick meal on the table when you're hungry. Okay, so let's see if there's any other questions. And oh, you want to know where you can find the puck recipe. So that was in our newsletter. Also email me because I don't think our newsletters, I don't even know where they end up online or whatever. So email us at plantdiego@gmail.com asking for that. And what I'll do is I'll probably just add this recipe to the Google Docs recipe. So for those of you that are interested in that, it will be there later. And any others that you guys are wanting to know, we can put in that doc too. I think, obviously you know how to cook a sweet potato, right? And I put tofu. This is tofu that I make is just, sometimes I just slice up the tofu and then put some liquid smoke on it and some brags and just bake it at 400 fast. It just like firms it up and makes it like nice and chewy, and it's easy. So and in all the cookbooks, the Handbook to Higher Health Consciousness and America Goes Vegan, there's great recipes for tofu dishes too. Like they're really good.